Law and Crime studios here in New York, the Idaho jury is on their lunch recess in the trial against 49-year-old Lori Vallow Daybell. And this gives us a chance to talk to our boots on the ground for an update. As you know, the Doomsday cult mom faces charges in the deaths of her two children, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old J.J. Vallow. She also faces charges in the connection to the death of her husband's first wife, 49-year-old Tammy Daybell. Meanwhile, Vallow's husband, Chad Daybell, faces similar charges and will have a trial of his own later at another date. For now, we want to bring in Law and Crime's correspondent, Gigi McKelvey. Thank you so much for being here with me, Gigi. Always great to see you. We're going to jump right into today's testimony here, Gigi. This morning, the jury heard from someone who became friends with Lori at a conference about a month after she met Chad, and she spoke about prayer circles where Lori spoke a lot about weapons. Can you expand on all of this for us?
Yeah, so these prayer circles were meant to drive out the demons that had possessed the bodies of, at that time, Charles and then eventually Tammy. And I think these are spiritual weapons, not actual weapons that they would need to try to drive this evil spirit out of the host body. And so she talked about how uncomfortable this stuff made her, although we've seen from a lot of people that were involved in these, they kind of walk back their involvement just a little bit. Is probably embarrassing being on that stand with everybody looking at you, with you admitting that you believe this stuff. But, you know, she was saying Lori was kind of the ringleader of all these prayer circles and getting these demons out of these bodies.
Now, she also testified under oath that Lori threatened to kill her and that she was too afraid to tell anyone. What was the atmosphere like in the courtroom when she said all of this?
I'll tell you this, Lori was shocked. She kind of sat up on her elbows on the table and looked genuinely baffled when she said this. Now, whether it's true or not, that was something that on cross, Mr. Archibald, Lori's defense attorney, said, "Why did you not testify to this at the grand jury?" And she said she was scared, but essentially Lori, when she decided to end the friendship, she was staying with Lori and went to go pack her clothes, and Lori started laughing and said she was naive. The world's not all rainbow and unicorn. And she said that she would cut her up and put her in garbage bags and that she wasn't in the right mental place to do that, but she could get there if needed. And she said she would bury her where nobody would find her. And the witness, Audrey, was sobbing on the stand.
Wow. Well, the defense attorney made a comment about her making this up on cross. How did that all unfold altogether?
Yeah, I mean, after she got done, of course, Mr. Archibald attacked that immediately and said, "You did not testify to this with the grand jury previously." And he reminded her that she was under oath. So he really was just attacking her credibility, essentially accusing her of just flat out lying on the stand.
I also hear
it was very tense.
Yeah, no, it sounds very tense. And I also heard that the jury got to see some Google searches from Alex Cox. What came out of all of that?
Well, one of the Google searches was the address for where Brandon Boudreaux was living at the time that the attempt on his life was made by Alex. The very day he Googled directions to that residence. Further, we know that with Tammy Daybell on October 9th of 2019, when Alex tried to shoot her, the gun didn't work, and Tammy thought it was a paintball gun. So they showed some pictures of these guns that had large scopes on top. But the Google searches were interesting because after she said he was pulling the trigger and it just sounded like air. But after that, there were several Google searches about how AR-15s work in cold weather. So it kind of answered something that we've all been wondering, which is, was he just a bad shot or did the gun malfunction? And it seems like maybe that gun just malfunctioned because locals said that night they doubted it was a prank because it was one of the coldest nights they had had in a very, very long time. That the temperatures, it felt like it was sub-zero outside. So it seems like that caused that gun to malfunction. And he later was Googling how to get the gun ready to be fired in cold weather, and also Googling like the metal thickness in a Dodge Dakota, which ironically was the car that Tammy Daybell drove. So maybe he was planning to try to shoot her inside the car, and this was only 10 days before she was murdered allegedly by her husband Chad Daybell. So very interesting searches before and after the attempt on Brandon and Tammy.
On a different topic now, was there any talk of zombies during any of the testimony today?
There was some terms of zombies. Audrey, the first witness, Lori's old friend, was asked if she had heard this term as far as people being referred to as zombies, and she heard that from Lori first. And that's the whole point of this casting out, is to kind of do their hoodoo voodoo to get the zombie out of the body. So that was kind of the first time she had heard it referred to in that way, other than just Hollywood Walking Dead type of stuff, but not referred to in real life, as somebody being possessed and being a zombie.
What other witnesses took the stand today?
So we currently have a detective from Fremont County. He was involved in the investigation into Tammy Daybell, as well as some of these phone pings and searches that Alex Cox did before and after the attempt on Tammy and Brandon. And that's who is still on the stand right now. So still on direct exam. And during cross, actually, the defense wants to have the actual guns that were seized at the townhomes when they did the search warrant back in November, when the kids were missing and everybody had fled that area. He wants the actual guns brought in to have the jury shown those, and the judge will allow it. So that's what we're looking for after lunch.
All right, Gigi, what else do you have for us before you have to go back into that courtroom?
I have to say it's been a very interesting and somewhat explosive morning. The audience has felt all these questions, which have been kind of some new revelations, especially with Audrey claiming that Lori said she would murder her. Very tense. A lot of reaction from Lori. Lori actually looked really happy to see her at first, and then of course by the end of it, she didn't look so happy to see her old friend Audrey.
All right, Gigi McKelvey, thank you so much for the update. And as always, Gigi will check back in tomorrow morning with you. And in the meantime, if you want more from Gigi, you can follow her on Twitter at Pretty Lies and Alibis. We do have to take a quick break here at the network as well, but don't go anywhere because we will have more on the murderous mom trial after this.